This is TWiT.
Our guest today is Shoshana Zuboff. She is one of the first tenured professors at the Harvard Business School. She's currently the Charles Edward Wilson
One of the
Professor.
first tenured women,
Female,
I think is what
not tenured professors. There have been many before you. Shoshana, welcome. It's so great to have you. She's the Charles Edward Wilson Professor Emerita at the Harvard Business School. Has written a couple of books prior in The Age of the Smart Machine and the Support Economy, but this is going to be her magnum opus, I think. The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, the Fight for a Human Future at the New Frontier of Power. And I know there are since Shoshana, you're talking to technologists here, people who are, immersed in all of this. I know there's going to be some people saying, oh, we've heard it all before. No, it's inevitable. But I want to step back. We're going to talk about that, but I want to step back and first understand what surveillance capitalism is. You describe it in the book, and it's clear your background in business economics sociology has been very helpful here. You describe the discovery of capitalism as the discovery of three commodities. Maybe we should start there to understand what capitalism is.
Surveillance capitalism, in some ways it radically breaks with the centuries-long traditions of capitalism, but in other ways there are things that we can understand that connect it to the history of capitalism. So, for example, it's long been understood that capitalism evolves by taking things that are outside of the market, that live outside of the market. They do not have a price. They are not commodities. And finding ways to drag them into the market sphere so that they are able to be what we call commodified, bought and sold. So the great historian of the rise of the self-regulating market economy, Karl Polanyi, in the middle of the 20th century, he wrote a book called The Great Transformation. And he described what he called the three key fictional commodities that allowed industrial capitalism to root and flourish. The first was the idea that you could take human activity that lived outside the market and bring it into the market and call it labor, and you could price it. And that was the beginning of the ability to have a new structure of wage labor, hourly wage labor and salaried labor and so forth. So that was one of the first, big inventions of industrial capitalism. The second was the idea of nature, that you could take the land and the trees and the lake that I'm looking out at and all of that, and you could bring it into the market and call it real estate or call it land, and you can buy it and sell it. And the third was the whole idea of exchange, which subordinated to the market now became money. So fast forward to the 21st century, surveillance capitalism. Here was the big discovery that allowed surveillance capitalism to break through, to root and flourish. And that is the idea that you could take human experience, private human experience, you could drag it into the marketplace and call it behavioral data. And then with some application of value added here and computation there, you buy it, you sell it, you create whole new markets based on not just selling behavioral data, but selling the computational inferences and predictive analyses from behavioral data that allow interested business customers to lay bets on what we will do now, soon, and later. That's the essence of surveillance capitalism.